For decades, scientists have pondered about the rocks and clocks debate, which is about the large discrepancy in age estimates between the fossil record and molecular clock of birds. The fossil record estimates that birds originated 66 million years ago, while the molecular clock estimates that the birds originated 75 to 116 million years ago. Finally, in 2017, Jacob Berv and Daniel Field published a scientific article, Genomic Signature of an Avian Lilliput Effect Across the KPG Extinction, which examined the relationship between avian body sizes and the rate of avian evolution and helped to provide some answers to the rocks and clocks debate. The purpose of the study was to see whether survivorship after the KPG event, a mass extinction that occurred 66 million years ago, resulted in a decline in population body size called a Lilliput effect. The scientists hypothesized that the evolutionary selection for a smaller body size after the KPG extinction led to an increased amount of substitutions. To test this hypothesis, Berv and Field analyzed various life history traits in order to observe the effects of macroevolutionary fluctuations in avian body size on the nucleotide rates in birds. The study's approach is to examine the effects of various life history traits on avian DNA substitution rate. The life history traits were in age at sexual maturity in days, incubation time in days, number of eggs laid per year, mass at hatching in grams, growth rate, maximum recorded longevity in years, and total metabolic rate in watts. Half the data was collected through several other published articles and an NHCC database Build 13. Berv and Field searched for the correlations among the rate of molecular evolution and the set of life history traits. Then they reconstructed the phylogenetic trees of the birds and estimated their mass. They performed divergence time analysis on the collated birds of lowest mass, medium mass, and of largest mass to see if the molecular clot estimates are influenced by size-based extinctions. To determine whether size reduction in living birds accelerated the molecular evolution rate, Berv and Field also performed 3 analyses on the root node, one without size or life history trait data, one with only body size data, and one with body size and all life history trait data. Some of these tests were hypothesis testing, correlations, and pairwise comparisons. In the substitution on variation sections of the results, Berv and Field uses COV, coefficient of variation, which is defined as a clock standard deviation divided by the mean clock rate. Values between 0.1 are considered to be strong evidence of a strict clock. Within the paper, the researchers also re-examined the output from previous paper and have now indicated a strong rejection of clock-like evolution. The researchers suggested that the lineages vary around 93% of the clock mean. A connection between uncorrelated clock rates is not clear, but what is certain is that there is a clear body size association. The study concludes that low mass evolved before median and high mass taxon evolved after median. For the life history trait correlations, the researchers found substitution rate is inversely correlated with adult body mass of the birds, but positively correlated to metabolic rate. Additionally, according to the study, all life history traits except for the metabolic rate was significantly correlated with the overall substitution rate on almost maximal posterior probability. The body mass for Neoaves clade, which consists of most birds, was a lot smaller than the other 3 clades. The medians of the body mass for the Neoaves, Neornithes, and Neognathae clades were 195 grams, 352.75 grams, and 372.45 grams, respectively. Furthermore, the data suggests that the bird taxon and median mass best represents the avian molecular clock, where they are less likely to be biased by an extreme rate of molecular evolution. From the study, Jacob Berv and Daniel Field concluded that the KPG extinction accelerated the evolution of birds. The KPG accounted for major differences in age estimates of bird lineages between fossil records and molecular clock estimates, which is one explanation for the rocks and clocks debate. Looking at the data, molecular clock estimates are not accurate when dealing with the mass extinction, so where does the Lilliput effect come in? After the KPG asteroid struck the Earth, the bottleneck effect occurred where many large birds died, leaving reduced bird populations. These populations mainly consisted of smaller birds, so that those birds only mated with one another, so the alleles make it into the next generation of birds are the alleles of small size from the current generation of birds. There was less genetic variation in the gene pool due to the bottleneck effect, or more generally due to genetic drift. This idea connects to our biology 1510 class very well, where we learn about genetic drift and genetic variation being affected due to effects like the bottleneck effect. Birds became smaller and evolved at a faster rate, and thus the Lilliput effect occurred. In terms of modern-day birds, because smaller avian life forms are more sensitive to geographical barriers, the occurrence of allopatric speciation after the KPG event also led to a spike in genetic diversity, resulting in the phylogenetic tree of the modern bird. Moreover, the increased substitution rates made the birds seem older than they really were. After the KPG extinction, the crown bird's life history traits were significantly altered. From that point on, too many biological changes occurred in the birds to be able to determine a clockwise age. The results of the study cannot be taken as the end of the discussion between rocks and clocks because there is still so much to explore, but this is a strong beginning point.